at tragic moments when animals get electrocuted. Unfortunately, animals have a knack for putting themselves in dangerous situations. Because they are constantly in search of food, they often end up in undesirable places. If you want to see what happens when animals get too close to electric power, sit tight as you get shocked watching our countdown of 15 tragic moments when animals get electrocuted. Number 15. Cow get electric shock. You don't always have to climb in an electric pole to get a shock. You can see what I mean when this cow steps into a puddle of water right next to an electric pole and crumbles to the ground and dies. Because the ions in the water are extremely conductive, electricity and water are a dangerous combination. This results in an electrical shock, possibly of a more severe nature. Any body of water can become an electrical shock hazard if an electrical source is submerged. This cow finds out soon enough not to go out wandering too close to the electric fence when he gets a small shock and backs away. I guess after a few of those. Number 14. Pigs touch electric fence. Pigs are intelligent animals, and it won't take time before they learn the consequences of touching an electric fence. But this little pig touches the fence inadvertently and runs off after he does. This is a small enclosure, so it's not easy to stay away from the fence. These young pigs are out in the pasture for the first time after an electric fence has been installed in one of the pigs. The black one gets the scare of his life. Number 13. Horse touching electric fence. This wild Mustang makes contact with an electric fence for the first time and jumps out of there abruptly. But the owner of the horse expected a much bigger reaction from the horse. The horse gets close to the fence once again, but doesn't get shocked this time around. I guess he's learned his lesson. This BLM Mustang would shoot through the top wood poles of his fence to escape to the highway. The owners installed an electric fence around the perimeter of the property to protect the horses and people commuting on the road. The other horses, which include quarter horses, mountain horses, and Arabian horses, were also chewing on the wood but were unable to escape. Number 12. Bird zapping. These birds meet at the top of an electric pole, but one of the birds is unlucky and gets zapped. The birds fall to the ground and the person filming approaches the bird. The bird is stunned but is still alive, and after a few seconds, it even manages to fly away. I hope it learned its lesson. You can see how close this little bird is to being zapped, and when he is, he just disappears. Number 11. Bear shocked. A determined young adult black bear sneaks past the electrical fence, drawn by the sweet aroma of honey. The entire episode was captured on security and trail cameras. After returning 2 more times, you can see the bear trying to move the container, which causes him to get close to the fence and take a shock. He runs off faster than he came and the big ear returns only to be disappointed again. I guess this fence is effective and prevents pests like bears and other animals from stealing valuable merchandise. VS. Bear is climbing up the wrong tree, but when he gets the shock of his life, he panics and tries to avoid more shocks. But at one point he gets a powerful shock which sends him falling straight to the ground. I don't know if he looks like this bear running away with most of his bum burns or if he even survived. This bear is trying to get this food, but he knows something is not right. He knows the fence is the enemy, so he tries digging a hole so he can get under the fence and straight to the food. That's pretty crafty. Number 10. Dog gets shocked. This German Shepherd gets all excited when he sees something, but as soon as he touches the fence, he gets the shock of his life. His friends come to see what happened and ask him what's going on. He explains to them that his owner is a crackpot and his rig defends to give him shocks. The dogs tell the shepherd they need to get him out of there. The 3 of them can a plan they will execute at sundown. This dog is curious and wants to get across so he can play with the cows. But the second he touches the fence, he runs the other way. I guess he found out the hard way that cows are not to be spoken to. This Doberman approaches an invisible electric fence, and the second he gets too close he feels the pain. He has no idea what just happened, and he's wondering if it's the cow's fault. He tries to figure out what just went wrong, but he's not willing to give it another shot. Number 9. Squirt shocked by the electric fence. Known as Squirt is not practicing a trapeze act for the circus. This little guy gets the shock of his life when he makes contact with an electric fence. I'm surprised it didn't send him flying, but I guess the shock is strong enough to discourage the Squirt from staying there, but not dangerous enough to knock him out. This pesky Squirt tries to steal fruit from a bird feeder, but when the feeder zaps him, he falls to the ground and gets zilch. The birds can now feed in peace. Well, think again. The Squirt is stubborn and keeps coming back and tries to find a way to avoid being shocked. But when he reaches for the feeder by placing one leg on the wire, he gets zapped again. But this guy doesn't give up easily, and he keeps going back. And because all of the chaos he caused, food has fallen to the ground, and the squirrel's perseverance has paid off. You can see at one point he gets zapped, and his body jolts and freezes for a few seconds. Mainly he thinks the shocks are good for him, because nothing stops the spicy squirrel to go back for more, and he finally figures out how to eat without getting shocked. But it's not easy because he has to hold on in a certain way, and it's easy to fall. He deserves full marks for his determination. Number 8. Cats. This bobcat got lost in the city and ended up climbing an electric pole. As he stands at the top of the electric pole, an electric company employee tries to rescue the cat. But I'm not sure how he's going to manage that with the long rod he's holding. He pushes the bobcat gently with the rod to try to get him to climb back down. But the feline is afraid. However, after a few nudges, he begins to climb down, holding tightly to the pole with his claws. So far, so good. And after a few seconds, the bobcat jumps to the ground and is safe and sound. It's great to see the rescue was a success without too much trouble. A cat sits at the top of an electric pole when he suddenly makes a backflip and falls into the crane that's trying to help him out. As the crane operator begins to lower the crane, the cat jumps out onto the roof and vanishes. Hence, I'm not sure the backflip was caused by it or the cat just wanted to impress the onlookers. However, I'm thinking if it was a shock, the cat would not have jumped on the roof that way. It's as if this cat knows his fences as electric current running through it, and that's why he's trying to get across very slowly. He's almost across the fence when he gets the shock of his life and jumps out of there in a flash. The shock just got him across faster. This wildcat stands right below an electric fence, and the second he makes contact with the fence, he scrams out of there. Number 7. Goat gets shocked. Here's a goat that tries its luck with an electric fence. But the second it touches the fence, it runs off and bounces up and down, moving as far away from the fence as possible. I guess that couldn't have felt good. This innocent white goat is taking a stroll along this electric fence and gets a shock for the first time. This goat used to get away by jumping the fence. This fence was constructed because there is a road directly in front of the pasture for cars travel at 55 mph up a hill. So the property owners would rather their goats suffer a minor shock than run away into the pasture and onto the road to be hit by a car. Because they are their pets. They adore their boys. Goats have a proclivity for mischief because they are curious animals. But this goat dangling from a power line has to be the oddest thing I've ever seen. I'm looking forward to seeing how these people handle the situation. As they band together to save the goats, they first place a ladder in front of the goat in the hopes it will grab it and climb down. This will never happen. Then they wrap a rope around its legs and forcefully drag it down, which appears to work. They are eventually successful in saving the goat. What happened for this goat to become entangled in these cables is beyond me. Is this goat capable of flying? This goat was left hanging from a power line by its horns after it jumped out of a truck. A driver behind the truck honked his horn to try and get the truck to stop. The truck finally stopped and the animal was rescued from the cables. Even if the goat tried to do this 1,000 times after the incident, it probably wouldn't be able to do so. What a fluke of nature. Number 6. Monkey gets electric shock. This monkey is fiddling around on this huge electric structure, and if he's not careful, he could end up dead. Here is a monkey swinging on an electric line trying to reach the electric pole, and when he does, he swings onto the next cable and the next. But as soon as he touches the third cable, you can see the flames burn his body. The monkey falls to the ground and probably dies. Even though we didn't see the outcome, these monkeys don't know it, but a trap has been set that will trigger a shock. They touch the cans hanging from a wire. I guess these monkeys are considered pests because they destroy or eat, steal whatever is inside, and residents have set up booby traps to discourage them from approaching. You can see the last monkey grab the cans and immediately receive a shock to the body. The monkey on this electric pole has already been electrocuted and is dead. Someone pushes the body with a rock, sending the body falling to the ground. Number 5. Snail and slug on electric fence. This slug is trying to crawl under an electric fence, and no one can do this slower than this guy. But no matter how slow he is, if he makes contact with the fence, he'll be roasted. Another snail approaches an electric fence with caution. But will that be good enough? Here's the same slug, and you can see his reaction when he does get a shock. He curls up and moves away from the fence. Another slug tries to escape from prison and is shocked. This slug is someone's pet, and that someone has built an enclosure for the slug with an electric fence around it so the slug doesn't escape. Number 4. Snake got electric shock. I don't know why this huge snake decided to crawl up this electric pole. But when this employee tries to bring it down with the rod, the snake resists and holds him tight to the pole. I'm not sure if the snake gets a few shots along the way, but the people manage to take him down alive and put him in a bag. Watch the snake make a wrong move and get electrocuted when he touches the wrong cable. That did not feel good, and I'm not sure the snake survives. This snake is dangling from an electric pole, and he's attracting a lot of attention because birds begin to show up. I guess they're waiting for lunch. When the snake is zapped, it falls to the ground. But when the cameraman looks for it, there's no movement on the ground. I guess the birds already knew the outcome, and that's why they showed up. Number 3. Leopard stuck on electric pole. Everyone knows leopards are great climbers, but this leopard took things to another level when he decided to climb an electric pole. Unfortunately, one big cat found out about the dangers of electricity the wrong way and perished. Another leopard is dead after it climbed an electric pole. Omnix watches city officials remove the dead cat's body and lower it to the ground. Residents of the village in India watched as a leopard dangled from the very top of a 12-foot-high electric pole. Witnesses used their cell phones to record the leopard's tragic death. This is the terrifying moment a 1-year-old leopard cub was discovered and tangled in a barbed wire fence. The big cat is thought to have fallen from a tree and landed on the spiked metal barrier. In a South Indian Mulberry Garden village, a concerned farmer discovered the leopard and rushed for assistance with dozens of other villagers gathering around but afraid to get too close and assist in case they were attacked. This is not an electric fence, but we thought we would include to make people aware of the dangerous fences like this are. Number 2. Chimpanzee gets electrocuted. In Japan, this chimp is looking for trouble when he decides to take a walk on the wild side. He manages to get an electric pole before being zapped and weakened by the shock. He tries to hang on, but eventually drops to the ground where city officials and ambulance wait to catch and rescue the chimp. This baby chimp touches this electric fence and gets a shot. So what follows my mind the most is the mother's reaction. She captures her baby just like a human mother would and embraces it, holding it close to her and the father. What an amazing reaction. The baby seems fine, and we can see his mom holding him tight, making sure he will not be getting close to that fence again. Another baby chimp gets a shock and falls to the ground. His mom grabs him and you can see that she's furious after the incident. Number 1. Lions get shot during hunt while on safari in South Africa's Sabai Sands Game Reserve, which brought us the Kruger National Park. Ernest Porter, a safari guide, and his guests tracked 2 lionesses to a water walk, which they discovered lying in the grass with the 2 lionesses just a few meters away. But the lionesses appeared hesitant to attack due to an electrical fence beside the antelope. They assumed they chased it to the fence, ran full speed into the water buck, and then stopped because they were shocked. The lionesses were only a few meters away from the water buck, but they refused to attack. Electric fences are necessary in game reserves due to animals damaging equipment and thefts, but they do occasionally interfere with the animal's natural behavior. They waited to see what would happen, and eventually one lion jumped on the water buck, touched the fence, was shocked, and jumped off the water buck perplexed. She then returned to the water buck and resumed her haunts. The video shows the befuddled lions being zapped by the fence and looking around trying to figure out what is going on. Despite the fence's limited protection, the lioness killed the water buck after being shocked several times during the attack. This lion had been electrocuted by this fence, and he's just laying on the ground. The fence is just supposed to be a deterrent, so the shock is not that strong. But this lion looks dead. I hope it's not the case. Well, that's our countdown of the 8 tragic moments when animals get electrocuted. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and let us know in the comments what you think.